today we have a very positive diva out there making a difference. She is a Gallup certified strength coach. She is an author of a great new book, The Wisdom Whisper, that you're going to hear all about today, a business owner, and she just has so much energy and enthusiasm going for herself. So please welcome this beautiful diva, Kathleen Murphy.
Thank you, Dacey. I appreciate it. Love being here as well.
Thank you. And we had met through mutual friends.
Yes.
We'll have to give Sula a huge plug.
A shout out to Sula, always.
And Donna Theone.
Donna Theone and Kate.
And Kate. Did I meet you at their event that I covered?
Yes. Yes, you did.
I did? Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
About a year ago.
Okay.
Well, you meet thousands of people a day,
know.
I think.
But this is great, and thank you for coming on out of your very busy schedule.
My pleasure.
So I like the backdrop here.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Where was that picture taken?
That was taken during my first book signing in Arlington, Massachusetts.
Wow,
Yes.
I love it.
Thank you, at Mystic Wine.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
And you have a little glass of wine in your hand.
Of course.
That's
celebration.
Right? Let's tell the viewers a little bit about who you are, Kathleen. Do you like being called Kathleen or Kathy?
Either one is fine.
Okay.
My mother likes Kathleen, I think.
So we're going to go with the mom, okay? So Kathleen, let's tell a little bit, everyone, who you are.
Certainly. So I'm a mom, first of all. That's the most important thing, I think, to give credit to.
Yeah.
I have 3 children that are 24, 21, and 18.
Wow, you look amazing for that age.
Thank you.
Wow.
Max Bronwyn and Cole Shinnick. Different last name than myself, so shout out to them. And I have been a businesswoman for 30 plus years. And a couple of years ago, I decided that I wanted to shift gears and do something a little bit more authentically in terms of where I wanted to take my career direction for the next who knows how many years.
Right.
And so I decided to think about, from the perspective, what did I like about being in the business world, and as a businesswoman executive, having worked for in the high technology industry for all those years. And I said, it really came down to the people.
Right.
And mentoring people, both men and women. And it didn't really matter whether they were someone straight out of college or if they had been also, perhaps a 20-plus year career veteran.
Right.
Everyone needs advice.
Yeah, and every time I think you need to reinvent yourself. I
Yes.
think that's a great thing. Now, did you live around here? You said Lexington? Is that where you grew up?
I grew up in Lexington, Massachusetts, and I moved to Chelmsford now, gosh, it's going to be about 22 years.
Wow.
So I've outlived myself here in Chelmsford and beaten my Lexington record of 18 years.
Now, in the high tech, who did you work for?
I work for big name companies that you've heard of called Hitachi, EMC, which got bought by Dell,
Yes.
Constant Contact,
Yep.
just to name a few of the big ones. Yes.
And what did you do there?
I was responsible for marketing teams and
Wow,
mainly,
that's a big.
Yes, and the growth and development side of the business. So what is called demand generation is the area that I specialized in. So I help companies to get into a position to find new leads.
Wow.
All the time, and not an easy task.
So
Lots of pressure.
So now fast forward.
Yes.
You reinvented yourself.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about, now you're a huge author. You started this book, Diane, we have that, The Whisper Wisdom, and I loved it, I read it.
Thank you.
Tell us what made you get into that, like book writing.
So it's kind of a funny story. So a couple of years ago, I was working with a client, and I was coaching one of the gentlemen on one of the sales teams that I was working with, and I found out that he was writing poetry and was already a published author. He was probably about 25, 26 years old. And so I had just learned that. I was really impressed. I said, oh my gosh, I can't imagine writing a book. And he looked at me and he had a funny smirk on his face. And I said, why are you looking at me like that? He said, Kathy, you should write a book. And I said, oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
I said, about what? Like,
so he
what would I
inspired
write
you.
about? He totally inspired me.
Yeah.
So he said, about all the things that you teach us and all the things that you have in your brain and all this experience that you can share with others. And I said, I don't even know where I would get started. And he just said, just start blogging. I said, well, how do I even do that, right? So
that generation.
Right, exactly. So he literally kind of gave me a basic tutorial in terms of how to get that set up. to take it so that I could get to the place where I literally started with the first article that I wrote and thought, well, no one's going to read this. But I had a place to put it. I had a WordPress site, so I put it out there. And I was very proud of myself. And I said, okay, that's
You should
great.
be.
One story, right? So about 20-ish stories in, I started to think to myself, well, maybe I should do something with this. Maybe there's some merit to what Rob told me. And that's when I really decided to press forward and to go ahead and to start moving towards having a book.
How long did it take you to do the book?
Took me a year, and I did it in such a way that was very doable. And people ask me this question all the time: how did you write this book, right? And I literally wrote one story every single week, just about. So, in some cases, 2 or 3, because my goal was to, in an entire year, write 100 stories and then to publish my book. So fast forward, I started down the process of getting to the point where I needed to do editing, and my editor said to me, Kathy, there's no way that we're going to be able to do 100 of these in the time frame that you want to publish. And so I said, okay, well, how many? And she said, I can do 50. I was like, all right. So I kind of had to reset things. But the last, say, 2 months during the time that I was writing my book, I wrote the book in Australia and in Fiji.
Wow.
And I was fortunate enough to be able to take a trip to visit my daughter who was overseas and studying abroad. And so, but I had to cram in and really be a true writer during the course of that time that I was there.
Now, if people don't know the book, The Whisper Wisdom, what is it about? I know what it's about, but what is the secrets? Who inspired, where did you get your inspiration to write this particular book?
Well, I've mentored probably hundreds of people over the course of my career, and I never really truly had a mentor other than my mom and my dad.
It's just not women.
It's not
You're
just
educating
women.
men and women.
Men and women.
And all ages.
All ages.
20s, 30s, 40s.
Yes. So this is all from my experience of as a business executive woman in my 20s and 30s and 40s, culled from those experiences over time and putting it into a format that I could share with others, so I could be essentially a virtual mentor to somebody if they didn't have one.
Right.
Right?
I saw that, where you are a mentor. And with your ideas, how did you, when you did the chapters, it's a lot about positivity.
Yes.
It's a lot about strength and how to become, what's your definition of success. So that's one chapter in the book that I was quite interested on that. So tell us a little bit about how you came up with that, the success of your definition of success. We all want to hear, right? We all want to be successful.
Of course. So I think everyone has their own definition of success. And so one of the things that I tell people is don't let somebody else define what success for you should be.
Right.
It's really critical for you to own that and for you to define what that means, because it's going to be different for everybody.
I like that.
Right?
It is different for everyone. It's not that high-powered woman that you're the most, the successful entrepreneur. It could be the mom that's successful in raising the family, finding the balance, taking care of, I liked that.
Absolutely.
Everyone is successful in their own being.
Everybody is. And as a Gallup Strengths Coach, my job is to identify what people's top 5 strengths are, and then to help them to be able to claim those strengths and then aim those strengths towards a goal or goals that they want to aim them towards. And so when you do that, because the majority of the people that I work with and the teams that I work with, both business and sports teams, I will focus usually on the first 3, because that's enough to really help them to get to that level of success that they want to be at.
And an inspirational story you were just telling me before we started the show. Tell us about the team that you're helping. Okay.
So I was working this past spring with the Chelmsford Boys High School varsity lacrosse team and Coach Sean Wright and his team. And I wanted to try out to see if, in fact, the Gallup concept could be applied to a sports team. And I had known through a book called Destination Unstoppable by Maureen Monti-Electa that it could, in fact, be applied. But I wanted to see that.
What
for
does the
myself.
Gallup mean?
So Gallup is a process of, Gallup is the company, but the concept is to identify someone's top 5 strengths through the Gallup survey.
So that's Gallup, okay.
So that's Gallup, right.
Okay.
So I I approached the coach, Coach Wright, and said, Coach Wright, would you give me a shot? I haven't done this before with a sports team. And I'm going to donate my services.
You're doing it all. If it's not sports, it's everything, right?
Yes. And I said, let me give this a whirl and see what I can do with your team.
Great example.
Thank you. And I said, what do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish? What's your idea of success for the season, looking ahead, right? What would that look like? And he said, well, I've got 27 boys on the team. 15 of them are brand new. I need to unite them in 3 weeks because we have our first game and we need to be able to play as well as we can out there, right? I said, great, okay. What else? Anything else? Well, we've got a lot of talent. Let's see what we can do to try to get as far into the end part of the season, to go as far as we can and as close as we can to winning the state championship. I said, all right, well, that's a lofty goal, but we'll see what we can do to get you there. And so fast forward, story-wise, I worked with the team every single game. I was there behind them, coaching them.
That's what I was going to say. So you had to go physically there. Because you can't wite a story unless you really see it one-on-one.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I physically would take 2 hours with each gentleman on the team, including the coaches, to get to know them, to help them to own their 5 strengths as well. But we focus on their top strength. And what I did with that is during the game times, I would physically stand behind them during game times and I watched their body language and I would see how they were reacting, statements that they would be making, et cetera. And then I'd have a conversation with them because my job on the team was to be part of the human glue team, which meant that if I saw somebody that was in trouble, body language-wise, with their verbal language, I would go and kind of rescue them, if you will. So that was one of my jobs on the team. So fast forward, to the end of the season, we made it to the semifinals, and I got them to within 3 games of winning the state championship.
Wow.
Which the coach and the team was blown away by.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
But you worked it hard. It was that constant contact. One-on-one with the team.
It was.
You had to be there.
I had to be there, and I was the one that's kicked off at halftime. I did their pep talks also. Wow. So I used my positivity. That's my number one strength,
wonderful
actually.
Story.
Thank you.
Yes, wonderful.
Thank you.
What are your 5 strengths?
So
you as a person.
My top 5 strengths are positivity, strategic, arranger, individualization, and woo. And so woo means winning others over. Arranger is that I'm good at taking sort of a mess and figuring it out. I'm very good at problem solving.
You must be very organized too.
Yes, you have to be.
You do have to be.
In my coaching world, yes, exactly. And then the individualization is I can see everybody as a snowflake. And I see all the nuances and I see all the specialty that is in a person, and I help to bring that out. That's nice. That's what I do. I like to consider myself to be a people diamond polisher.
Well, you are. You're very positive. You're very. When I met you, you'll come right over. Hi. I'm like, okay. I'm a hug girl. I'm like, oh hi. And you're very professional. And I said, oh, I have to read this. I mean, she's very professional. What am I going to talk to her about? But it's good.
Oh,
that's interesting.
You.
What's the Ranger? Did you just say? What was
a ranger? Yes. So a ranger is let's say there's a situation that needs to get figured out. I'll be able to come up with 25 different scenarios in terms of how we can get from point A to Z.
Okay.
And like that, just in nanoseconds. And it's an ability to take lots of information, synthesize it, and then do something with it. And I obviously use my strategic strength to do that as well. Yes. So it's a great strength to have.
It's a great strength to have. I mean, does someone sit you down and say, right now I need that answer?
Yes.
So that's a ranger.
It is. And I have a lot of CEOs that I work with that will call me in to say, hey, we've got a problem. Kathy, can you solve it?
Right.
And I'll say, sure.
But I bet you couldn't solve, what am I going to make for dinner tonight with the kids, right?
I could.
You could solve it?
I could. I could do
that. Do you cook?
Not well.
You don't have time.
Well, and my kids, I think, secretly want to put me on the worst cook show in America, but I keep expecting that they're going to show up at my front door.
Tell me one of your best experiences that you've had through the years that was so inspiring, someone that you helped, that you got in there, and yes, the team, that's an amazing story, but something else that was really maybe in your younger days that said, wow, that just pushed you to keep on going, and because you have a lot of wisdom in this book.
Yes.
It is whisper wisdom. So anything that stuck out in your mind, or maybe there was just someone that was down and out, an individual that you helped and said, oh, wow.
As a matter of fact, without mentioning any names, there is somebody that I've been working with for 2 years, a really dear friend of mine that I've known for a long time, since high school.
Right.
And he was going through a really rough patch, more than most people could imagine going through.
Right.
And he sent me a picture last week, and I've been coaching him this entire time, and he sent me a picture last week, and I said, oh my gosh, you look happy.
Yeah.
And he said, I think this is the first time that I can actually tell you in my entire life that I am happy.
That's a nice story.
And that's why I sent you the picture. He said, because I wanted you to see what you've helped me to do and achieve, right?
Right.
And it just melted my heart, and I just, oh my gosh, it was just magical.
That is magical.
And that's the kind of experience that I tend to have with people. Is I make them,
I can see it. You have a good heart, and you make them feel good about themselves. And that's important.
It is.
Yes.
And I make them believe also that they can achieve whatever it is that they want to, because I believe in them, right? And that's critically important.
That is
right?
critically important.
Whether I'm, whispering it to them, or whether I'm, shouting it.
Who came up with the name? I like the name.
I came up with it because I wanted to.
Is it whisper wisdom or wisdom whisper? It's
funny.
like both ways.
So when I redo my name, it is wisdom whisper, but it's
I say whisper wisdom.
That's okay. I'm dyslexic.
Did I say wisdom whisper? I didn't. I could. Yeah. We don't just get the book. All right. We don't have to say it. Whatever way you want to say it, right? And Amazon.
It's on Amazon.
Yes.
Exactly.
And we're gonna get all your information. But where did you get the name?
So I came up with the name because I'm not a super loud person. I'm a very positive person, but I tend to be sort of very reserved in terms of when I'm talking to people, and I wanted to convey information, but I didn't want to do it in the format that maybe circus barkers would do, right? That's not my style. So I named it sort of after my style of I'm just sort of very subtle, so I wanted to whisper information to people, and if they were listening, they could hear me.
Right.
If they wanted to,
if
they chose to hear me.
So that's good. I've been wanting to ask you that.
Thank you.
So that's interesting.
And of course the play on the wisdom, right? Taking all the experiences that I've had, and summarizing them into my book. What
was the one paragraph I read with the fake and the real? No, that's interesting. I'm like, oh, that was a good one. So explain a little bit about fake and real, and if you're faking it.
Oh, sure. So it had to do with helping people to figure out whether they were encountering somebody that was genuine or whether they're a complete BS artist, right?
So you do that too?
Means. Yes.
Jeez, and to take you around more often.
I know, right? And so I have a pretty good meter that is able to read whether someone's genuine or not. And I teach people how to go about doing that as well. And that's critical, right? Because we need to know, especially with all the people that we encounter.
Can't waste your time.
Right, no, exactly.
You don't want to waste your time.
Not at all. And it's so important to be able to, ask those important questions to that person to identify if you're not sure. But it really comes down to trusting your gut. Not enough people trust their gut, and they need to.
So that was interesting the way that you explained it. I couldn't really understand, when you're faking it. Are you faking it at work? Are you pretending like you're doing a role? Or is it just within yourself? Is it all around? Say, I'm faking it now. You know what I mean? I'm talking to you, but I don't really.
Well, so it's two sort of dimensions, right? So it could be that you're faking it yourself, and because you don't feel
good within yourself,
right?
Okay.
Or that you're maybe not feeling as if you have enough street cred to be doing whatever it is that you're doing.
Right.
But the flip side of it is to be able to identify people that are faking it, because a lot of people are, and it's important to know whether they're the real deal or not, because you don't want to be taken by them. You don't want them to take advantage of you if in fact that they're faking it in a way that could be harmful to you. So I really was focusing on trying to help people to not be in a position to be harmed in any way, because I'm always looking out for what's best for everybody.
What did you learn after writing this book? The most important thing that you learned?
Well,
about yourself.
That I could do something that no one expected me to do. Growing up and not finding out that I was dyslexic until I was 21 years old, I had a lot of challenges with that, right? Especially with writing and reading, right? Even speaking. And I never imagined that I could write a book, ever. I mean, writing was really difficult for me. And so to be able to, thank you. So to earn a degree in journalism, although my concentration was really in advertising because it allowed me to write, but not the kind of style writing that you do. Although I've been published in lots of different publications, Money Magazine, Forbes, Huffington Post, Reader's Digest. I'm going to be in The Economist this summer. I'm getting published in all these places.
And you're on Dacey's Divas.
And I'm here.
And you made my day.
Thank you.
That's good for you.
Thank you.
If you had a magic wand, what would you wish for, Kathleen, for the young women out there in this environment today?
I would want them to think so much better of themselves than they might possibly feel that they deserve to be looked at as just an incredibly special person. Everybody has so many gifts, and not enough people really appreciate and sometimes will give themselves enough credit for what they're good at doing. And so that's partially why I went into coaching, was to be able to focus on helping people all the time, especially business teams, especially sales teams, right? Because they have to know what their strengths are in order to be able to do their job well. But so does everybody, especially women. And I think women are harsher on themselves.
We are. We're so hard on
ourselves. More critical, right?
Everything.
Than
very critical.
Than gentlemen might be. I think guys are kinder to themselves. I want women to be kinder to themselves.
I think so. Kinder.
Yes. And to each other.
To each other.
Please.
I agree.
Right?
Yes, I agree. That's very, very inspirational words. Who was a role model for you in your life for a woman?
I would say my mother.
Yeah.
My mother was an oncology nurse for many years.
I saw that. Yeah.
And wow, I mean, I don't know how she did what she did. She always wanted my sister, Jackie, and I to be nurses. And I could barely put a Band-Aid on myself. So I said, Mom, I don't think that's a good career for me. I just would be terrible at it. I said, that's probably not where I want to go. But I mean, she was a full-time working mom, and she never missed any of my sports games. I played soccer and lacrosse. Was at every single one of my games.
Was she a single mom? Or
no,
do you have a dad?
No, I had a dad, but he wasn't able to leave the office. So my mom was there because she had the good nursing hours that could allow her to see me. So I would say my mom, Emily Murphy.
Oh, see, Kathleen and Emily.
That's right.
And now we have your niece out here. Hi, Sophia.
Sophia Shaw.
She's a big help here today with you.
She certainly is.
Can you believe we're wrapping up?
Yeah, no, it's quick.
Anything else that you would like to say? Promote your book.
Yes.
They can get it.
Yes.
Amazon, your first book. I think you're going to be doing another book.
I am. I actually have book 2 and 3 under the editing process right now. And
is it going to be similar to this?
It's going to be similar to this, and I don't know if I'm going to use a similar name or a different name, and I'm into writing book 4 right now as well.
And this is 2 years old, correct?
How long? Yes, well, actually, it'll be 1 year.
1 year. You started 2 years, so 1 year. That's right.
Or in April, rather. I'm already thinking that we're in March.
So 2 books. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's your 4th book you'll have under your belt.
In under 2 years.
Wow.
Yep.
And where can they get you? Give your information. This is your platform?
Yes, thank you. They can find me at marketme2.net or Kathy Murphy at me.com. That's Kathy with a K.
We got all your information. Perfect.
There you go. And my phone number is up there.
Well, I just wanted to thank you. You are a true inspiration.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming out. Thank you for mentoring so many people of all different ages and being so positive.
Thank you.
You really are a beam. You shine of light. And I thank you for coming on Dacey's Divas. I have to give you my traditional Godiva chocolate for the diva in you. I wish I knew I would have brought a little Sophie one.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. That's fabulous.
But thank you for coming on the show. Really.